everyone, welcome back. Ready to jump into another deep dive? Today, we're getting into something kind of creepy, kind of fascinating. We're talking about bot farms.
Ooh, those are interesting.
Yeah. So, those hidden parts of the internet where these like digital armies are being created, I mean, why should we even care about this?
I mean, they're everywhere.
They are everywhere, right? They're shaping trends, they're swaying opinions, they're messing with businesses. So to really get into this, we've got three articles. One from Datadome, one from LinoStube, and one that focuses specifically on YouTube. So we can see how this plays out in the real world. What do you think? You ready to go down this rabbit hole?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right, let's dive in. I think one of the things that really struck me just even looking at this initially was just how many of these bot farms are out there. Like, it's kind of crazy. One of the articles, the Datadome one, it showed that something like 73% of internet traffic is potentially from malicious bots.
73%.
Yeah, it's a lot.
That's wild.
So for those of us who are maybe just hearing about this for the first time, can we just back up a little bit? Like, what exactly are we talking about when we say bot farms?
So imagine a software program.
Yeah.
Right. And it's designed to do things online that a human would usually do, like clicking or liking things or leaving a comment. Now, take that software program and multiply it hundreds, thousands, even millions of times, all controlled by a single person. That's your bot farm.
Okay, that makes sense. It's like a whole army of these like fake accounts that are all doing the same thing.
Yeah, just like a puppet master controlling all these different accounts.
Okay. So are there ever times when these bots are not bad? Like, is there ever any legitimate reason to use bots?
Yeah, for sure. You know, Google and all those search engines, they use bots to go through websites to index them and, make sure that when you search, you're actually getting good results. Also, a lot of businesses, they use bots to kind of track their website performance and, make sure that everything's running smoothly for people.
Okay, so it's not necessarily the bots themselves, it's the intent behind them that kind of makes them good or bad, I guess.
Right, exactly.
One of the things that we've been talking about kind of offline is just how these bots can be used to manipulate social media. And that's one of the things that's kind of scary about this is that you just don't know. Like, you see something trending and you're like, oh, this must be really popular, but it might not be. It might just be a bunch of bots making it seem that way.
It's true. They can make fake accounts, like posts, share content, make something seem way more popular than it actually is.
Right. So like those viral trends that we see, those could be totally manufactured.
Exactly.
I'm starting to feel like I can't trust anything I see online anymore. But like, how do they actually make money doing this? Like, what's the point of creating all this fake hype?
Yeah. So there are some more direct schemes like ad fraud. That's where the bots generate these fake clicks on like pay-per-click advertising.
Oh, so they're making it seem like people are clicking on the ads when it's actually just these bots, so that costs businesses money.
And it costs businesses a ton of money,
Yeah.
like billions of dollars. Datadome estimates that in 2023 alone, it cost businesses about $84 billion.
$84 billion. That's insane. So they're basically stealing money from these companies by making them think their ads are more effective than they really are. But how do they even get away with that? Don't those companies notice something's fishy?
I mean, it's sophisticated. These bot farms use all sorts of tricks to hide their tracks. Like, they'll use proxies to make it look like their traffic's coming from different places around the world.
So it's like these bots are these like digital ninjas that are hiding in the shadows, manipulating everything.
That's a pretty good analogy.
And sometimes it seems like these bot farms actually want to just cause chaos, like with those DDoS attacks, where they just overwhelm a website with traffic, like to make it crash.
Yeah, exactly, like a digital stampede, bringing everything to a halt.
I remember reading about that massive DDoS attack back in 2016 on DIN. And that took down like Twitter and Netflix and all these major sites. Like, that must have been a nightmare.
It was a nightmare for a lot of people. And these attacks are becoming more and more common. In fact, the Datadome report showed that just in the first half of last year, there were 1.7 million HTTP DDoS attacks.
Seriously?
Yeah. 1.5 million DNS attacks and 1.3 million L34 attacks.
Whoa, hold on. L34 attacks? Like, what even is that? I'm guessing most people, myself included, have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, sorry. That was a little bit of jargon, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Essentially, those are just different ways that attackers can flood a server with traffic and, make it crash.
Okay. So different ways of causing the same digital mayhem.
Exactly.
So DDoS attacks and ad fraud, that's like master criminals, right? Are regular people like me at risk from these bot farms?
Absolutely. Think about data scraping. Bots are programmed to, go to websites and just extract tons of information, like anything, prices of products, your personal data,
So like a digital spy going through your stuff online?
basically.
That's not cool. Okay, so what about gamers? Like people who are watching Twitch or YouTube, are they impacted by this too?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Bot farms can be used to like artificially increase view counts and follower numbers, make things look way more popular than they actually are.
I remember in the Data Dome article, they talked about that one Chinese bot farm that was making over $600,000 a month just from playing Counter-Strike 2.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. That's crazy.
Crazy. So it's not just inflating numbers, it's manipulating these algorithms and gaming the system for profit.
Absolutely.
So for those of us who aren't running these massive gaming operations, what kind of impact do these bot farms have on our lives? Like, it seems like they're messing with everything online. Like, what about businesses?
One of the biggest impacts is that they really erode trust. When you can't tell what's real and what's fake online, it's hard to make informed decisions. Like, is this product review real or is it a bot? Is this news article legit or is it, fake news being spread by bots?
It's like that saying, a lie can travel halfway around the world while the truth is still putting on its shoes.
Exactly.
But now that lie is being spread by millions of bots.
Exactly.
And it's even harder to catch up.
Yeah. And for businesses, this erosion of trust, it really has consequences. Companies waste money on ads that aren't reaching real people. They make decisions based on bad data because bots are skewing their analytics.
It's like trying to run a business in a funhouse.
Right, exactly.
So it's bot traffic in, bad decisions out.
Yeah.
Not good. Okay, so I think I'm starting to see just how deep this all goes, but is there anything we can do about this? Like, is there anything I can do to spot bot activity?
Yeah, there are some things to watch out for.
Okay, give me the cheat codes.
Okay, one thing, especially if you're running a business online, is to look at abandoned shopping carts. Bots can fill a cart, but they're not going to actually buy anything.
Right.
Another thing is that there's often this disconnect between clicks and conversions. So you might see a lot of engagement on your website, but it's not actually translating to sales.
That makes sense.
And also be wary of sudden surges in traffic coming from weird places. Like if you're running a local bakery in New York and suddenly you're getting tons of traffic from Russia or China,
Yeah, that's probably a red flag.
that's probably a sign that something's up.
Okay, so it's all about looking for these anomalies, these things that just don't add up.
Yeah. And trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is.
Okay. So I'm feeling a little bit more empowered already, but I think we've only just scratched the surface here. There's still so much more to talk about, especially when it comes to the impact of bot farms on platforms like YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where we'll pick up in the next part of our deep dive. We'll look at how these bot farms are manipulating YouTube specifically, what YouTube is doing to fight back, and what you could do to protect yourself.
All right, well, it sounds like we've got a lot more ground to cover. So stick around, everybody. We'll be right back to continue our exploration into the world of bot farms. All right, welcome back, everyone. Man, that last segment, I don't know about you, but it really kind of freaked me out a little bit. Like, bot farms are everywhere. I had no idea.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
And you know what? We've only just scratched the surface.
I know, there's so much more to uncover.
Yeah.
Well, for this part, let's zero in on one platform where these bot farms seem to be, causing a lot of trouble. YouTube.
Oh, yeah, YouTube.
Yeah. The LinosTube article, it really showed how these bot farms are manipulating everything, like view counts and subscriber numbers. It's kind of like the Wild West out there.
Totally. And for creators, it's a huge deal, right?
Yeah.
Because building a genuine audience on YouTube, that's essential for success.
Right.
But these bot farms, they kind of create this distorted reality. It makes it harder for the real talent to break through.
So you're saying those channels with millions of subscribers, they might not actually be that popular.
I mean, you never know for sure, right?
Yeah.
But these bot farms can make it look like they're way more successful than they actually are.
It's like finding out that your favorite band lip syncs all their performances.
Totally. And it affects everything, like their ad revenue,
Yeah.
their sponsorship opportunities.
It's got to be so frustrating for those creators who are, putting in the work, trying to build their channel organically. It's like they're playing a game, but somebody else keeps cheating.
Absolutely. It's not a level playing field.
So how do these bot farms actually work on YouTube? What are they doing?
It all comes down to automation, right? These bots, they're programmed to act like real people. So they watch videos, they like them, they comment, they even subscribe to channels.
Oh, wow.
And because they operate on such a massive scale, they can inflate a channel's metrics really quickly.
So it's like you've got this army of digital fans who are constantly watching your videos even though they're not real people.
Right, exactly.
And the problem is, it's all fake, right? Like those fake views and subscribers, they're not actually engaging with your content.
Exactly. Real viewers, they leave comments, they share the videos, they become part of your community.
So it's like having a party where everyone there is a cardboard cutout.
Yeah, exactly. It might look crowded, but there's no real interaction.
But doesn't YouTube have ways to stop this? Like, they can't just let this happen, can they?
Oh, they're definitely trying to fight back. They're using, machine learning algorithms to spot suspicious activity.
Okay.
Like if a channel suddenly gets thousands of subscribers, all from the same location, that's going to raise a red flag.
Makes sense.
It's like in those spy movies where they trace a callback to a single location.
Right. You can follow the digital trail.
Exactly. And YouTube also has people, real people, who are reviewing channels looking for signs of bot activity.
Oh, so it's not all algorithms.
No, definitely not.
Okay, so they've got all these safeguards in place, but it seems like bot farms are still a huge problem.
Well, it's a constant battle, right? As YouTube develops new ways to detect them, the bot farm creators are finding ways to get around them. It's like a never-ending arms race.
Wow, that's crazy. So we've been talking a lot about the negative side of these bot farms, but is there any potential for good? Like, could this technology be used for something positive?
That's an interesting question. And
Yeah.
I think, there's definitely potential there. Think about tasks that are really time-consuming for humans, things that could be automated,
Okay, I'm listening.
like disaster relief coordination. Imagine, after a natural disaster, you could use bots to go through social media, look at all the emergency response data, and help identify the people who need help the most.
That's actually a really good idea.
Yeah,
It's like having a whole army of digital first responders.
exactly. Now, what about medical research? Bots could analyze huge amounts of medical data, maybe identify patterns that human researchers might miss.
It's like having the superpowered research assistant.
Exactly. And think about education, right? Bots could create personalized learning experiences for students.
So instead of every student getting the same lesson, the bot could tailor it to their individual needs.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so it's amazing to think how something that's often used for, like, bad stuff could actually be used to do good.
Absolutely. There's so much potential.
But, I mean, let's be realistic. There are probably some major challenges to overcome before we see this kind of widespread positive use of bots, right?
For sure. One of the biggest challenges is transparency,
Yeah.
We need to know who's controlling these bots and what their goals are. We need accountability.
Yeah, it's like that saying, sunlight is the best disinfectant.
Exactly. We need to be able to see how these bots are being used, make sure everything's above board.
And what about bias? Like, if these bots are programmed with biases, they could perpetuate them on a massive scale.
That's a really important point. We need to make sure we're building these bots in a way that's fair and inclusive.
Yeah, and what about jobs? Like, if bots become super sophisticated, are they going to replace human workers?
That's a tough question. It's something we definitely need to think about.
So those are some big things to consider for the future. But for now, let's focus on what we can do, like right now, to protect ourselves. We've talked about how to spot bot activity. What else can we do?
Well, one of the most important things is to just be mindful of what you see online. Just because something is trending or has a lot of likes doesn't mean it's true.
Yeah, the Lena's Tube article really stressed that, like, fact check everything and get your information from reputable sources.
Absolutely.
Don't just believe everything you read on the internet, right?
Yeah. Be critical, evaluate the evidence, consider different perspectives.
It's like we all need to become digital detectives.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to, challenge the information you see. If something seems off, do your own research.
It's about taking control of your online experience, right?
Exactly. You're not just a passive consumer. You can be an active participant.
And we can't do this alone, can we?
No, we need to work together. Support the people who are fighting against bot activity, report suspicious accounts, flag spam.
It's like a neighborhood watch, but for the internet.
Exactly. We all need to look out for each other.
And every action we take, even if it seems small, can help create a healthier digital world.
Absolutely. We can make a difference.
All right, I'm feeling a little bit more optimistic now.
Good.
We've covered a lot of ground today, but there's still so much more to discuss.
Always more to learn.
Yeah, well, stick around, everyone. We'll be right back to wrap things up and leave you with some final thoughts. All right, welcome back, everyone, for the final part of our deep dive into, well, the wild world of bot farms.
Yeah, it has been a wild ride. We've gone from these shadowy armies of bots to talking about how this technology could even do some good in the world.
I know. I can't believe how much we've uncovered. But before we wrap things up, let's take a minute to kind of bring it all together. What are the key takeaways here? What should our listeners be walking away with?
Well, first off, I think the biggest thing is just realizing that bot farms are not some like fringe thing.
Hmm.
They are everywhere online. Remember that crazy stat from Datadome? 73% of internet traffic.
I know. It's mind-blowing. It's like we're swimming in a sea of bots and we don't even realize it.
Yeah. So that brings us to our second big takeaway. Critical thinking is key.
Mm.
You really got to question everything you see online. Don't take things at face value.
It's like we all need to become these like digital detectives looking for clues, figuring out what's real and what's fake.
Absolutely. And this is super important for businesses too. They need to be really careful about the data they're using to make decisions.
Yeah, all that bot traffic can totally mess things up.
And on the flip side, creators, they need to be wary of those inflated numbers. Just because a channel has tons of subscribers doesn't mean it's actually popular.
It's all about real engagement, not just vanity metrics. But this whole conversation, it really makes you think about the future. Like, if these bots are so good at doing things automatically, what does that mean for us humans?
It's the big question, isn't it? Will bots replace us? Or will they become tools that help us do things better?
I like to think it's more about finding that balance, humans and bots working together.
I think that's the key. And we can all play a part in shaping that future. Support the people who are fighting against the bad bots.
Yeah.
The cybersecurity companies, platforms like YouTube that are trying to crack down on this stuff.
Yeah, and don't underestimate the power of your own actions. Report suspicious accounts, flag spam. Every little bit helps.
Absolutely. It's like a collective effort to make the internet a better place.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive into bot farms, I think we're left with a mix of caution and optimism, right? Be aware of the challenges, but also be hopeful about the potential.
Yeah. And never stop learning. The digital world is constantly changing, and sometimes the truth really is stranger than fiction.
Well said. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, stay curious, keep exploring, and remember, knowledge is power.